This video is going to talk about using record rules and user groups to restrict the view inside the Contacts app. The use case that we're going to be exploring is if we don't want a salesperson to see contacts that are not their customers, so they're not the assigned salesperson for, or if that contact is a vendor. So if they're not a customer at all, they shouldn't be seeing them. So if they go into our Contact app, we can take a look at what we'll be doing. Just go to list view, and so we've got some customers, some companies and parent companies, as well as we've got some vendors down here. So if I enter, say, a company, we can see that I freed up these out-of-the-box fields of supplier rank and customer rank. Supplier rank of 0 means that they're not a vendor and they won't show up as that. Customer rank of 1 means that they're going to show up as a customer. So if we take a look at vendor, we can see that now they're listed with a supplier rank of 1 and a customer rank of 0. This is the same way that this filter works for customer invoices and vendor bills. It's looking at that rank. So that's vendor bills right there. I've got customer invoices down here. So right now I'm logged in as the administrator and I can see all of them. If I was going to go to the salesperson right now, they would also see all of them. And that's what we want to be changing and we'll be taking a look at in this video. So now I'm going to be going to our settings and going to our users, and we're going to take a look at our salesperson right now. So they're set as an internal user. That's this radio selection of user type. Internal user is that top selection. They're set as user owned documents only. So they'll be able to have access to the sales app. And out of the box, they're also going to have this one for access to private addresses. So I'm going to take that off. And down here, we've got one called contact creation. So I'm going to remove that one as well. After that, I'm going to save. And I'm going to talk about some of the groups real quick. So we're just going to go to user type and our internal user. So we can see that we've got myself as an administrator as well as that salesperson in here. If we go over to record rules, we can see at the top we've got contact. And so right now from the base level of internal user, they can see all the contacts as long as they're not private, and they can also see them if that type is false, so it's not set. So that's basically all the contacts inside there. So that's what we need to change first, because right now from the base level of internal user, they can see those. However, we don't want to just delete this and remove it later, or just change this group, because this group ID will be called for in the system by its own ID to allow users to do things if they're an internal user. So we have to leave this group, and we have to leave the users in this group alone. So first what I'm going to do is I'm just going to drop this into the application of extra rights. I'm going to go ahead and just save that. I'm just going to duplicate it. Once I do that, we see we've got our copy here. So I'm going to rename this with contacts. So I'm going to save that. Before I leave, I'm going to remove our salesperson from this new group. Now I'm just going to go back to our original user type group, and we're going to set this back to be user types. We've got both in there still, so both can still be referenced for anything in the system that needs an internal user. We're going to go back to our record rules. We see here our contact one that's giving all that access. We're just going to go ahead and delete it. So now this internal user group cannot edit those contacts, and this group can edit those contacts, and this is the one now without the salesperson. So if we left it alone right now, that salesperson would have zero access to contacts, which is not what we want. So we're going to create another group to restore the access that they should have. So again, we're just going to put this one in extra rights, and we'll call it salesperson contacts. Go ahead and give that a save. Go to our record rules. Now we're going to talk about what record rules we want and how we're going to combine them. So I'm going to go ahead and add a line. And versus using a pre-made one, we're going to go and just create a new one. We're going to call this salesperson vendors, and we're going to put this in the contact app. We're just going to save and close this. So now, when we have the option to add our domain, we're going to use this to specify the delineation of customer versus vendor. So the way that I have this one working is I've got my OR statement to say 1 or 2. The first one being that the supplier rank will equal 0. So they won't be a supplier at all. If it's 1, it's not going to show up. Supplier rank equals false. It's just there for safety in case somehow there's a record in there that's not set as a supplier and not set as a customer. The second one that we need to add is relating to the creation or salesperson assignment of those. So again, we're going to create a new one. We'll call this one salesperson own contacts. Again, it's going to be in the contacts app. We'll save and close that. And the domain that we're going to be entering here starts with 6 OR statements to use all 7 of these. So I'll walk through what each of these mean. The first one, create underscore UID, is going to be what user created that record. And it's going to be calling to check that ID against that. So it has to be the same user who created that record to view it. Or it can be the user ID linked as that user's ID. In this case, user underscore ID inside the contact app is the technical name for the field of salesperson. So the salesperson assigned to that contact. So we're saying that if the salesperson is listed as our user, that user can see the contact. I've got user ID as false. So if there's no salesperson set on a contact, they'll be able to just see them, maybe make a sale to them. That way they can maybe get a sale and not miss out on any opportunities. So granted, we could leave that one out if we wanted to, but I'm going to leave it in. And just for safety's sake, again, I have put create user ID equals false, just in case somehow there's no creator linked to a contact. The next 3 are related to the parent ID. And parent underscore ID in the contact app is the technical name for the field of related company. So in this case, if the related company's user ID or salesperson is the user that we're logged in with, they'll be able to see the parent ID, same thing if it's not set. So this is allowing us to see contacts that might not be assigned to us, but if their parent contact is assigned to us or we created it, we'll be able to see those contacts as well. Now the issue that we have is both of these rules are in conflict with each other. The first one is saying that under this view, you'll be able to see any contact as long as the supplier rank is 0 or not set. And the second one we have is saying you'll be able to see all the contacts, granted that you either created them, you're assigned to them, no one's assigned to them, etc. So we need to combine both of these domains into one. And we're not going to be doing this with, say, the ampersand and operator, such as that. We're not going to be using that. The first thing we're going to do is just grab that one again, get rid of our ending bracket. We're just going to put a single comma in and drop in the rest, and take out that leading bracket. So now what we have is a single domain listed here saying that if the supplier rank is 0 or not set, they'll be visible, comma, continuing on for stipulations, so basically and, it was created by that user, or they're assigned to it, or no one's assigned to it, so on and so forth. So now we can remove this one. And if we go to users, we can add our salesperson to it and give that a save. So again, we've got our domain set, our salesperson in, and now we can take a look at what that salesperson will be seeing. So I'm going to log out, just log in as that salesperson. And now when I go to contacts, we see that we've got a much different view. We had 18 contacts before, and now we're getting 9. We're going to jump to that list view, take a look at a few of them. The ones that we have here are internal contacts of the company. So this was that administrator. This is the company itself that we're in, another contact for the company, and as well as the salesperson that we're logged in with. Up here we can see now that we've got a few customers. So we've got company 1, who the salesperson is assigned to, as well as the customer from that first company. Nobody's assigned to it, but he's also related to this company. So this is actually saying that this user can see him because there's no salesperson assigned and because he's related to that first company. Our customer 3 is assigned to the salesperson so he can see him. Customer 1 has no salesperson, so again, we can see that customer as well. What we're not seeing are the vendors. We had several vendors and subcontractors, and we're not seeing customers that had that original admin JHC listed as the salesperson. So with that record rule, we changed what that salesperson can see and have access to inside the contact app. Obviously, this is not all inclusive for what you can do with record rules in the contacts, and you can change those domains for what purpose you want, and of course layer them with further user groups to allow more access to higher up users. But this should be a good start on editing some of those groups and working with record rules for the solution that will work best. Thank you.